For the last 4 or so years, the streaming show Game Changer has made a name for itself in being a game show where the game changes every show. As a College Humor fan from way back, getting to see my favorite cast members lose their minds over everything Sam Reich puts them through has been a treat. Admittedly, I'm a more recent Dropout subscriber, as I was once content with the episodes and shorts put up on the College Humor YouTube channel, but after seeing just how insanely creative they have become with all of the new episode ideas they put out the last few years, I knew I had to watch it all. There's so much to love about it, from the uniqueness of each show, to the charm of the various contestants, to all the improvisation on display, to the vast amount of sincerity found in all that work on it. So, in celebration of Game Changer's For Your Consideration campaign, well, hopefully that goes well, I'm pulling for it, I decided to go back through each episode of Game Changer and give my own thoughts as well as ranking for the series, because who doesn't love a good tier list video on a struggling new YouTube channel? Also, while I wouldn't say this will be a detailed review of each episode, there will be a good amount of spoilers throughout for each episode, so I would highly recommend you go watch and support the show on Dropout if you haven't yet. I would not be making this video if I did not fully believe in this show. Well, the only way to begin is by beginning, so without further ado, let's begin with Game Changer Season 1. First off, we have the show's pilot Lie Detector, and not to begin with a nitpick, but it feels weird not having those classic point sounds play every time the player earns a point. A lot of this feels very stripped down compared to the later seasons. Not a lot of music or flashy effects, just getting intimate with the players themselves. The casting here was really good. Brennan's got so many classic one-liners in this one. Jess being flirty with the machine, Teo getting nervous when the secrets are about him, and of course their significant others being revealed. That was a very cool moment. The secrets themselves were also really juicy, and it was fun to just watch each of them unravel those more embarrassing parts of themselves. Sam Reich has said this is one he could never do again, and I can see why. The way the game is set up really only works well for these three specific people. And if they try to do it again, I don't think it'd have the same dazzle. I'd say what keeps this from being a stellar episode to me is the editing. There's so many times the contestants say something that feels like it was cut together in the editing room rather than natural speaking. Plus, there's a good amount of shots of the contestants just answering straight and flat, with little levity or comedy worked in, and again, the lack of the point sounds really doesn't help with being able to track how the episode progresses at all. But still, I think the middle was the most well-paced because we were able to have the three of them on stage trying to figure out the machine, while their significant others were backstage reacting to what they were saying in real time. It was honestly really fun to watch all that banter. This is a good episode, and I will continue to rewatch this one. I do like that Brennan chooses to answer the same as Jess in the final question, ensuring that both of them win rather than just one of them. I'm not sure if that was Brennan's intention, but I do think it's indicative of a greater ethos that we see throughout the rest of the show. That it's not really about the competition or the victory, it's about having fun with the people you stand next to. And I think that it's that more casual, laid-back, vintage tone that the show goes for at times. Throughout the set design, the casting, the nature of these games. It's that feeling of just a bunch of friends hanging out together that just makes this show stand out from its competition. Also, Izzy showing up in this episode is weird to me. Not because she's here, I like that she's here, but she's just so less unhinged compared to the later seasons. It's a little odd at first. Lie Detector gets an A. Pretty good pilot. Episode 2 is Make Some Noise, and I mean, how could you go wrong with the noise, boys? To think just a few men in their 30s making animal sounds would lay the groundwork for a full-on spin-off that is currently on its second season, time recording. This one still feels a little rough in some places, but I think it holds up remarkably well. Josh, Zach, and Brennan have amazing chemistry with each other, as well as with Sam. Josh working up over every in-depth sound he makes, Zach going more all-out physically, Brennan running around his mind palace and making whole worlds from scratch. Every moment with them, you can tell they're in pure bliss as they go through each prompt. I also like how the players had the chance to steal a point if they can make a better sound. Considering the prompts are more basic and less crafted toward a specific player unlike in later episodes, it makes sense to go that route for this first one. and it leads to some fun moments, from competing over the best mac and cheese sound to disagreement over what's unintelligible. I just love this one. If it weren't for this episode, I would not have thought to subscribe to Dropout in the first place. But even with the vast swell of Make Some Noise content, this episode is unique enough to where I don't think I'd feel bad watching it over the later stuff they've done. It's a classic Game Changer episode, a great pilot for Make Some Noise, and overall, an amazing time. Easy S tier. Game of Prizes. So this is the first prize game of the show, and I'd say the way they go about it works well enough. I like how the players weren't prompted as to whether they were guessing if these prizes were to be gifted to them at first. It fits the show's mantra very well. You can tell Sam's proud of how he laid the episode out when Raph is questioning what they're actually guessing for. Raph absolutely makes this episode. He's so overconfident and boisterous in the beginning, only to be brought to rock bottom midway through, then trying to kiss up to Jessup and Lily by the end. He's very funny to watch as he goes on this emotional journey. I also like that this episode is where the loop-de-loop bit came from, which would later be used in the Survivor and Battle Royale episodes. I will say, kinda similar to Lie Detector, the episode does lose steam after a while. Once Lily's far enough in the lead, it's hard to feel the stakes of the episode. Granted, it makes Raph's hope for a loop-de-loop that much funnier, but it also doesn't add much weight to the prizes themselves. This idea definitely could have been taken further, and I think it has in later seasons. Like in the mini-games, the players aren't even prompted about how to get the prize into their bins, and yet they all choose to throw them. I'm a little surprised no one thought to just walk up to the bins and just put them in there, but I don't know. Overall, this is still a good episode. I just think the concept has been done better later on. I give Game of Prizes a B+. Also, Sam doesn't say "I've been here the whole time," and it feels so weird after hearing it in literally every other episode. Episode 4 is a real whodunit. This one was pretty fun. I like the idea of having an episode that becomes a murder mystery where only one person isn't in on it. I have a feeling the intention was for this to be a fun break for Reika, given she had a bunch of other shows going on around the time. I'm not sure if that was successful, but hey, good idea with that. I will say it does start a little flat until we introduce the murder weapon. Once the mystery starts getting put together, the humor that we get from Grant and Reika's banter is impeccable. I will say, Grant does a good job of hiding the fact that he's a murderer, and the fact that him grabbing batteries just nonchalantly becomes a major point towards his actions was a really neat twist. His monologue at the end was also very in line for him, and knowing Josh was lying on the floor playing dead the whole episode. Yeah, that's also kind of funny. He makes a really good dead body. I also kinda like the acting from all of the crew members. It felt a little corny while still playing it straight. It sort of added to the nice little adventure game feel to it all. That said, the fact that a lot of this was scripted and played straight kinda brings it down for me. That's the thing with a lot of these earlier episodes, there's a lot of good ideas, but they don't go wild like they do in later seasons. Of course, there is a certain charm to this one that doesn't go unnoticed. I'm glad this one's also free to watch on YouTube. It may not be much, but it's enjoyable for what it is. I give it a B. Also, as I was just watching this episode, I realized that the script supervisor is actually Andy Bustillos from Make Some Noise, so that's cool. And finally, for Season 1, we have Nom Nom Nom. Yeah, I'll keep this brief. I'm not sure what to say about this one. I think this is the one episode that just feels like a pure game idea, no frills about it. The mouth is a cool design, I guess, but if you don't get the pop culture or college humor references, there's not a lot this episode's gonna do for you. I do like how little Sam tells the contestants each round, which just causes them to do more outrageous stuff near the end. And also the mini-games were also pretty neat, keeping in with the whole eating theme. I just don't think this was strong enough to center a whole episode around the mouth. If the whole thing was just eating challenges, and then the mouth was like a little in-between thing, maybe that'd be fun. But as it stands, this is the episode I care the least about. Out of all the Season 1 episodes, this one feels like an easy weak link to me, so I'm gonna put this one in C tier. We'll see how much farther down it goes as we put into later seasons. Also, Sam doesn't say his catchphrase again at the beginning of the episode. He just says, "Sorry to disappoint." Well, you know what's really disappointing? Me not knowing whether or not you were there the whole time!